Hey guys, Stealth here. Welcome back to Transport Fever. Now, it's been a couple of days since I last posted an episode, and that episode was pre-recorded. This means that when I did that episode, I wasn't aware of as many game features as I am now. So now I can actually get to work, and now I can actually explain a bit more about how I found the whole system of transporting cargo and transporting passengers to work. Because it really isn't that tough, I just wasn't using the right mechanics. Now, for example, I had this fuel line going on here, this transport line. It's not a bad idea, but here's the thing. This station only delivers its fuel to these specific houses, and that's the problem. Because with that, the fuel is not delivered to where it needs to go, and that is something that I had completely overlooked. You see, with this filter you can have a look at residential, commercial and industrial areas. Now, it's making it pretty difficult for me in the sense that I'm a bit colorblind. So the residential and the industrial color are very, very close together. The commercial area, that is something that is definitely clear. Now, you want to have a look at the industrial areas, and usually you can recognize them just by the sheer shape. The sheer shape of their buildings. These are industrial buildings. These are where you need to deliver the fuel. So the fuel in itself was not a bad idea, I just wasn't delivering it to the town or to the area of the town where it was needed. Now this town has a bit of a spread out industrial area, and that makes it a bit more difficult. But I am going to once again reinvigorate this fuel line and potentially not take it by train, but just take it by car, as that works just as well. And most often it actually works a bit better. That does mean that I have this train station and the railroad that I am invested in, but that is not really that useful. I can also, if this thing produces enough stuff, make sure that I have enough for the other town here, Colorado Springs. And here again there is an industrial area. It is off to the side here, and if I can supply these with fuel, then this town is going to grow. Because then you can see that this jobs area is going to increase. Whereas currently I have more population than I have shopping facilities or jobs, which means that we have a couple of unemployeds. So, let's get to work. I have 2.10 million. I have a loan of 12 million, but I am making a profit, despite the fact that I have a significant loan out. So I'm not too worried about that at the moment. I just want to make sure that I get this thing producing as fast as possible. And in order to do that, I'm considering buying another train, but I found that trains for cargo just don't really do it. They're just not that good. As in, they just don't transport enough unless you have some really, really high amount of transports going on. So instead I'll be having a fuel line going from there to here, and then from there over to a truck stop in the middle of town. Because currently Worcester Halt is where I'm delivering my fuel, if I'm not mistaken. Is that line? No, that's not line 3. Line 3 is my passenger line. Roads. I currently don't have any kind of fuel line. Okay, that explains it. Back to it. By road vehicles. These things are terribly slow, but they also run for virtually nothing. 8.28k per year. That is really, really cheap. So I'm going to be buying 4 of these, and then setting them all up to go on a specific line. And I can make them travel pretty effectively. Wait, 1. I want to go from there to there. So from Worcester Central, which I don't really find a good term, I'd say Worcester Central is pretty much in the center of town, but they put it all the way over there. I want it to go from there to the fuel stop over there, or to the oil refinery. And now it's going to get a bit more expensive, as I want to deploy another truck station, and preferably somewhere where it's positioned so that I can actually resupply these stations or these areas of town that need it. And I'd say that this would be a good position, but I'd have to buy my way through a couple of buildings which is expensive, but in the long run will be worth it. Because now I'm covering most, if not all, of the industrial buildings here. So it is definitely expensive, but what's going to happen now is that line 1, I'm going to call this Worcester Fuel, or Worcester Oil Fuel actually, because it does both. We're going to activate that line, and now these guys are going to go out, pick up some crude oil, send it to the refinery, probably go for one empty run, because this thing first has to pick up its production. Then take the finished fuel, drop it off in Worcester here at this Upper Worcester transport station. And then move back, pick up some more crude oil, and just completely repeat that pattern all over again. That is one fuel line that I can do. Now, one of you guys mentioned that there is a nice amount of towns along the river that I hadn't actually noticed yet as a pattern. We have Stamford in the north. We have Laredo. This is of course Colorado Springs, and to the south we have Worcester, and potentially even Gresham, so that's 5 towns. That means that I could send out a ship to pick up passengers and just take them along the river. I haven't done that yet, and mostly is because I don't really think that ships are that useful for passengers. If you have a short jump from one side to the other, or let's say across this lake, I'd say yeah, it might be worth it. Because then you can have a lot of passengers, transported for pretty cheap, and with that just make a nice tidy profit. But if you have a long area, then these passengers are going to be traveling for, well, it could be years if they want to get from one stop to the next. And that means I won't be paid as much. That is something I want to prevent. I want to make sure I get a nice amount of profit. Let's see about my fuel line. Oh, for some reason it already thinks that it needs to output crude oil, which is not exactly what I need. I need the fuel. So the game usually takes a while to get used to that. For now, my Worcester fuel/oil line, here is it with all the vehicles. They have picked up crude oil, 8 in that one, 7 in that one. That means the next one's probably going to be virtually empty. Yep, 2 and none. That's because this production, this oil well, first needs to learn that it's going to have to crank up its production, because I'm placing more demand on it. And that is basically the whole important thing here. What you're looking at is not a production-based growth, but it's demand-driven, which makes sense. I mean, if this oil well doesn't have any demand, then it's not going to produce anything. And that's exactly what's going on in the game. If it doesn't produce anything, it's not going to do anything. Or if it doesn't have any demand. There we go. 20k. And it is full of oil. Hang on. Why are you taking oil? Because I don't need oil here. I need fuel. So these guys don't... Ah, there we go. He picked up the fuel. So we're going to have a bit of a oil storage in Upper Worcester for some reason. Not exactly sure why we'd want to have it there, but okay. Ah, there you go. He noticed that it is not something that is demanded at this station. So he's just going to continue on his route, go back, take it all the way up back here. Notice that he has a full load. Come back down the hill, go back to the refinery, drop off his oil, and then potentially pick up his fuel. Let's see. And there we go. The oil/fuel line is already making a very, very modest profit. And for Worcester itself, it doesn't get any fuel yet, because I think that the one vehicle that was transporting the fuel is not quite there yet. Alright, what other opportunities do we have here to make a profit? As for food, I think we're doing okay there. Or what was it? Where was my fuel line going? Or my food line. Wait, I don't have a food line? Which are you? Oh, you're a plastic line. Sorry guys, it's been a while since I played this save game, so I have to dig into it again and see exactly what is going on. Now, I would like to get more food into Worcester as well, for the reason that with food you can build out the economic section or the commerce areas. And we have a couple of new vehicles. So what I want to do is try to get food in here. Food is built or produced in one of these facilities out in the middle of nowhere. They need food or grain to get it there. Unfortunately, there are no farms anywhere. There's just nothing. Where the hell is the nearest farm on this map? There we go. Oh, that's gonna take a long time to be profitable. Because I would have to take the grain from over here, ship it to the other side of the map, then take the food that's produced and deliver it to Worcester. It's going to be an incredibly expensive line that I will probably never make profitable in any way, shape or form. It's just not happening. Now, this plastic line, what exactly does it do? Test line plastic. Yeah, no shit, it's not making a profit. Because I don't need plastics anywhere. See, this is basically old stupid me trying to deliver stuff here, which it doesn't need. I mean, this test line for plastic, I will get plastic over here, it's gonna pile up. And then at some point, it just stops producing, so I stop gaining money from it. For the simple reason that this thing doesn't need to drop off its plastic anywhere. I could tell it to drop off its plastic over here. If I can get plastic there. Oh, damn it. I have to look at this first. The Sea Springs passenger line needs vehicle replacement. So we're going to set up a new vehicle to take care of that. That's going to be the Schneider PB2 for 71k a piece. And turn on automatic replacement. Now, if I deliver plastic here, I'm also going to have to deliver steel. Where can we get steel on this map? This thing will create steel if I deliver iron ore and or coal. That means we're gonna have to dig up some iron ore somewhere. That is iron ore. And now it would be nice if coal wasn't on the other side of the map. But hey, just imagine that. Yeah, I don't see coal anywhere. Should be on the other side of the map though. I mean, there has to be coal somewhere. It can't be this bad. There. Fantastic. Once again, in the middle of nowhere. If I want to make this map work, I'm going to have to set up some sort of huge central distribution center. And with that, just bring in, for example, grain. Bring in food. Bring in all sorts of stuff. And then redistribute it to different towns that are connected. I think that that would be the most likely way to get this thing going. Now, profit is going up slightly. I'm at 556k a year. Let's have a look at the line. There we go. Look at that. Worcester Oil and Fuel making $130,000 a year. Now we're getting somewhere. Line 3, which is my line from Worcester to Colorado Springs, is making some money. Let's rename that. Worcester to Sea Springs. How much do you have in sense of capacity? This vehicle. 54. We are getting some passengers here that are not getting taken along. The train is absolutely full. How about here? Ah, it's 4. I don't need to upgrade the train yet. It's alright. Okay, look at that. This depot is now understanding that it needs to have a lot of crude oil in supply in order to make sure that it can get all that stuff delivered here. If we go to details here, you can see that it has crude oil stored. It is also building oil for some reason. And what I really need it to do is build fuel. But for some reason it still thinks that it needs to have oil standing by. And I think I'm starting to understand why. Because there is an excess of oil here. And that oil is picked up by my plastic transporter from over there. That is probably why. And that is messing up both lines, actually. Because this one doesn't need crude oil, it needs oil. So I just need to redirect this one. Wait, one. Worcester Central. I'm going to remove that. I'm going to add this station. What's going to happen now is that it's going to go to Worcester, or to Lower Worcester. Then take the oil there, which would be the likely spot, because right now my other vehicles are trying to transport it back up the hill, which means that they cannot take on standard fuel, which is what the town requires. And therefore this thing thinks, oh, I only need to produce oil because it's not required to get stuff into town. And thereby I'm not getting any kind of fuel at the moment. So now it should be fixed. That is, semi-fixed, because I still have this plastic production that has some plastic stored, but doesn't really do anything with the plastic. Alternatively, I could try getting plastic and planks in here and build goods. Goods are something that Worcester needs. It falls again under the economic section, or the commerce area. If I want to do that, I'm going to need planks. The plastic is alright, that's settled, that's done there. I could even build it there and make it a bit of a shorter route. The planks are an entirely different story. I can get logs from over here, and I would need some sort of facility that can cut that up into smaller pieces. It would be nice if any such facility would be found nearby. But hey, that would be too nice, wouldn't it? It is not happening. There is no such thing nearby. The nearest wood facility is right over there. Laredo Sawmill. So that is a long way away. What I could do is try to get it from there to over here. Then take the planks to some sort of central processing facility somewhere. Possibly. The industry here is terribly laid out. That makes this game pretty damn difficult. So, working on industry for the moment, I don't see it. It's not likely to go well. You're still carrying oil. There we go. Oil offloaded. Could you start producing any sort of fuel, please? That would be wonderful. Okay, screw it. For now, I'm going to go with trains. Trains are just slightly more profitable initially. And especially in the long run, you can make a lot of money with them. So what I want to do is set up a train line between Hartford, Burbank, Laredo, Stamford, Jersey, Abilene, and Colorado Springs. I would like to do this in single lines, so Jersey to Stamford, instead of Jersey to Stamford to Laredo. If you make this one large line, then passengers from Jersey are going to continue clogging seats all the way up until Laredo. Whereas passengers from, for example, Stamford to Laredo cannot board the train, unless you have these Titan-sized trains, which is what I don't want to do. So I'm going to go with single-section trains. And the first thing I can do is just extend it all the way to Laredo. And then from Laredo, take it over to Hartford and Burbank. And once again, New York City is going to be left out in the cold because it is just way too isolated. Alright, let's go for a train station. I'm still not sure what the difference is between these, but alright. Oh, we have another road vehicle that needs working. Okay. Let's set up a replacement system. I want to have this one as the replacement. Yes, you can buy those if you want to. How are we doing on money? Nice, look at that, all in the green. Just when I had thought that I needed to restart this save game in order to keep it profitable, it just doesn't quite happen. Now I'm going to invest in the future. I need high-speed tracks here. Because I'm not exactly sure how fast these go. 120. Actually, that's fine. 120 is well enough. Okay, we're still going flat. I need to stick to the road because I do not want to be building tunnels or something like that in here. The flatter I can keep it without doing terrain work, there we go, like that, the better it is. Okay, a bit of elevation there. Whoa, that's a lot of elevation right there. Look at that, the game is just trying to go with a similar elevation, costing me 61,000 for this section of train, or train route. If I say no, I want to keep it level, sure, 14k. So the game actually tried to, well, I'm going to say scam me out of money. Again, it's trying to build a tunnel. Get out. It's trying to scam me out of money. 4 times as much as I would have normally been paying. Where is my train track here? Yep. Okay, we're going to attach that northways. 157. Whoops, that was a bit more expensive than I was hoping for. Up. 35k is good. Once again, it's trying to elevate the train line. 99 is workable. And then... ooh, that's 300k. That's expensive, I'll have you know. Come on. I think that we're going to have to redo this section of train line because it's running right into the hill, which isn't really working out. If I make this bend in the train tracks, it's going to have to force the train to slow down to 57. It's not what I want to do. I want to keep it fast. Stop trying to scam me out of my money. There, now we can stick to 85. That's workable. In order to make sure that I have enough capacity here, I'm going to upgrade this one. Set it to 2 tracks. And then make sure that this one is connected to the second track as well. Thereby, if the first track is taken, the second track can be used to transport the passengers to Laredo without having to wait for the train to clear. Let's see, my thing is over here. So we're going to go for a multiple unit. Oh, the M300 is available. I can transport 13 passengers at a speed of 100 kph. That is pretty fast for 1933. Loading speed is 2 times, which means it loads pretty fast. And what the hell is that? That is some weird graffiti you got there. The Pioneer Zephyr. 52 passengers, 177 kph. That is extraordinarily fast in this era. But I'm going to go for this one. And I also want to have some money left to buy cars. That would be nice if I could transport more than 13 passengers on that line. Because with 13 passengers I'm never going to make back, or I could make back 168. Easily. Okay, so if I want to get passengers only, I can buy that one. It's going to go 80 max. I need something faster. This will transport 19 passengers. Running costs are quite significant, but it's pretty fast. What's your top speed? 100. Alright, let's take out a bit of a loan so I can make this train track work. And we're going to add one more cart. Or car. Actually, yeah, I'm going to go with one for now. I'm going to set up a new line. I'm going to go from there all the way to over here. There you go. And with the other train out of the way, the other train is currently right here, I can make sure that these things don't interfere with each other. However, currently, it thinks that it is being obstructed. So I'm going to make sure that these things can pass each other, and by doing that I'm going to make a path signal, meaning that the train can move up to there, And if that next section of train or next section of track is freed up, then we can continue to move. There are 80 passengers waiting there for a 54-seat train. That could be a problem. Okay, let's make an internal bus route for Laredo. I'm going to have one of these things here. Then some more bus stops. Let's see, it comes out of there. I'm going to set up the first one over there. Next one here. It covers everything, right? Yep. Third one there, and that should do it. So we're going to have a new road, or a new line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Done. Now we just need vehicles. I could... Do I have a depot here? Yeah, I do. Okay. So let's set up 2 of those. Set line, line 2. And that is it for Laredo. Now this line is going to be probably running negative for a while because the passengers here, or the people here, don't know that there's a train track yet. And we have a new vehicle. I can build an aircraft, the Douglas DC-3. First off, rename this one. I'm going to make this the Laredo Sea Springs passenger line. Whatever, this is enough. Wait one. This is the wrong one. This is the bus. So this is the Laredo's bus. There we go. And am I seriously calling them passenger lines? Because I usually call them bus lines right now. Yep. Okay. So we're going to say this is the Sea Springs bus, which makes way more sense. And this is the Worcester bus. There. Now everything's making a profit except for the Laredo bus and the line 1. This is the one that I need to rename. This is Laredo to Sea Springs. There we go. And currently we already have one person waiting on that line. Money is still going up after having spent quite a lot of money there. And let's see how the fuel situation is doing here. Worcester. Yes, now we have fuel. That means that Worcester is going to generate more jobs. With more jobs, if my logic is correct, with more jobs we're also going to see more people wanting to get to Worcester, which means more traffic on the train lines. And with more traffic on the train lines, that means more profit for those specific trains. Now I am curious how my plastic line is doing. It is making a profit, but I'm not sure what the stuff is being used for. Yep, there we go. It has 40 units of plastic stored. Which is really bloody useless, because I still cannot use it anywhere. Okay. Let's focus on the train lines once again. Laredo. Yep, there we go. This bus is now feeding the trains. That is the plan. So these 10 people are likely to want to drop off at this junction here, at this lower Laredo bus stop. What do they call it again? Yeah, bus station. There we go. Dropped off. Bus is empty. 10 more people waiting on the train. Good. And there we go. Finances. Still in the negative. And unfortunately for you, you just missed the train. So you're going to have to wait for the next one. Which should be along in about 3 months. No worries about that. Another vehicle is available. The Class PRRGG1. Alright then. I'm considering taking more trucks, setting up a dedicated fuel line or crude oil line from there to there, and then one from there all the way to Colorado Springs to generate more jobs there as well. Get fuel into that town. Because it currently is working okay-ish. So I'm going to tell the Worcester fuel oil line to just head back to base. Everyone gets to go back to base. Then we're going to delete that line, which is making me a nice amount of profit, I'll give you that. I'm going to set up one line from there to here. This is going to be a pure crude oil line. So we're going to call this Worcester crude. And all the vehicles that I have available here, or that are not currently tasked with anything, such as you're going to be assigned to Worcester crude. Same for you, Worcester crude. Okay, that's one. Now, all the way over in Colorado Springs, we need to find out where the industry is, and it's right up here in the north of town. There's some residential buildings, some industrial buildings right there. And to make matters more difficult for my color blindness, these are not in fact industrial buildings, but buildings which are more valuable. And there we go, land use only. Still, the difference between industrial and residential is so incredibly small that for a colorblind someone like me, it is virtually impossible to decode. At any rate, we need to make sure that the stuff gets to these industrial buildings. So, we are going to need a truck station. And again, preferably somewhere where I don't need to spend somewhere north of $1 million and still have a decent coverage. This is not too bad. There's not that much industry here yet. That's the problem. I think that would not be a terribly bad position. But I would be missing some of these industrial buildings. Okay, let's build a road. Let's manually attach those. See if that works. That might help. There we go, that's better. Oh, that's expensive. Yes, now I basically cover the entire industrial area there. Alright, new line. I still need to set up 2 new lines here before I forget. One comes from you and goes there. That's going to be the Worcester fuel. And we need to set up another one. And this one doesn't have any vehicles yet, that's okay. This is going to be an incredibly long haul for them. And especially later on when I have bigger trucks, that's going to make it a lot easier. So we're going to buy 2 separate lines here. 1, 2. You are going to be set to the Worcester fuel system. And I need 2 more. Once again, the Mac AC. And I need you to join the... Is that the line 1? Is it? Because I haven't named it yet, I think. Move. Yep, that's line 1. Okay. There should be one more road vehicle. There we go. Set all lines, line 1. We're going to have to rename line 1 to C Springs Fuel. Good. How's Worcester doing? See, Worcester now has a lot more jobs than it does have population. And the amount of jobs does have a minus, so it is shrinking because I simply don't have enough fuel to sustain this, and probably not enough population either. So I need more people to join my town. Money's going up nicely, 785. I'm actually turning a tidy profit here. Railroads. Laredo Sea Springs, making 600 grand a year. That is what I want to see, because that makes the train, at least the train vehicle, back in about a year or 2. That's definitely workable. I'm going to suspend that plastic line, because it won't get me anywhere. So we're going to say, go back to base. I'm going to delete you. You're incoming. And you're going to join the Worcester crude line. The Worcester crude line is intentionally separated to make sure that it doesn't transport anything that it doesn't need. And this thing, noticing that there's certainly no more demand for oil, has dumped all of the oil that was stored here. So right now we're just going to have 2 trucks transporting it to Worcester, the fuel, and 5 trucks transporting the crude oil to this refinery. Just trying to pick something up. There we go. Worcester fuel has 7 out of 8, and that should do it. Show me the money. Almost $1 million a year. 815k currently. And that is including some new vehicles. And considering vehicles, I may have to expand this railroad, because I have consistently more passengers waiting here than I can transport. Especially down here. Worcester has a lot of passengers waiting. This one not so much. It's not as bad. Alright, let's have an overview of all the systems. Sea Springs fuel is still going negative as expected. Worcester fuel is still negative as expected. The railroad is doing fantastically well. That's Laredo Sea Springs. And the other one, Worcester Sea Springs, is also doing very, very well. Good balance on pretty much all the lines. Alright, 54 passengers out of almost 90. So we're going to either have to set up a new train there, or just expand the capacity of this one. And I do very much prefer expanding the capacity of this one. So for now, I want you to go back to the depot and get another train unit joining you. Passenger. The Streamlined Coach New Mexico. Capacity 18 passengers. That's terrible. This train in general, how are you doing? Because you're pretty old by now. 18 years old. Top speed 100. So I still don't need to adjust that one. Just need to give it another car or 2. This one 19 passengers. The thing is, I hope, and I really do hope, that this thing can still pull enough. And I don't think so. That's the problem. So I'm going to sell the locomotive. And the multiple unit thing has tractive effort of 30 kilonewtons. I need something a bit more powerful than that. Holy, that's expensive. That is very expensive. Tractive efforts. This is an early series switcher diesel electric locomotive. Does that require electric or not? Because I don't believe so. Top speed 80. It's too slow. 160. Or if you want to go really fast with a lot of power, you're going to buy the Class PR GG1. I think I had an Atlantic. Jesus, this is going to get really bloody expensive. I could just buy another Atlantic. But the power that these things generate is just not that much. 800 kilowatts. That's 1100, 3300, 3500, 450, 2900, and 3400. So there are massive leaps to be made here. Okay, we're gonna go with a Mikado. I'm going to once again borrow a bit more money. That's a pretty bad habit of mine. And yep, we're still gonna need more. And don't worry, I will pay off that debt eventually, as all gamblers say. Loading speed times 2, loading speed times 1. Capacity 90. There we go. Worcester Sea Springs. Have a good one. So that was pretty expensive. I now have a debt of 15 million, but I'm still optimistic. Because overall, despite the debt, I'm still making money. Let's have a look at the road. Worcester Fuel just made a very tiny profit. And note that not everything is being claimed here. Not all of the fuel is being claimed here by the first truck that arrives. It actually splits it out between Sea Springs and Worcester. This is the crude oil line. How's that one doing? Crude, 32 grand. Not too bad. Worcester itself is getting fuel once again. And immediately, with my train out of commission for just a couple of minutes, people are starting to complain about the line usage. You can see a ton of people waiting here. 93. That's more than I have capacity for. But with that, train 1 should be making money once again. Pretty soon. I may go red for just a tiny amount. $94 passengers waiting. Come on. That's 200 grand. Train is completely full to capacity and there's still 9 people waiting. Alright, next expansion plan. Taking Laredo to Hartford should not have a lot of terrain elevation, so I could just take the train and take it along to Hartford. And then from Hartford we're going to go to Burbank. And then I should have a really nice train line. Currently 9 is 29. I need that train to arrive. It's going to bring in all the money I need. How's Seasprings doing? Still doesn't get any fuel. So they're probably still en route. Money! $500,000. Wow. And of course people are immediately crowding the bus stop here. Or just walking back home, it seems. Interesting. So, my road line for Seasprings, where are you? Where's the vehicle? It's carrying fuel. This one's carrying fuel too. So one would say that this should work. But I may just not be transporting it fast enough. I mean, it takes these trucks absolutely forever to get there. And in the meanwhile, this one is crowding up with fuel. Nice bit of traffic profit on this truck. I like that. I'm just going to buy 2 more road vehicles. 2 more Max. Both of these are going to set to the Seasprings fuel line. Because I don't find that Seasprings is growing fast enough. Worcester is once again getting fuel, but its jobs have crashed from 420 back to 345. So that's pretty terrible. Holy moly. That's a lot of people you have waiting there. And not all of them are for this train. Moreover, by far not all of them. 65 are waiting for Laredo. What is so interesting there? I have 65 and have a capacity of 30. Ooh, that could be a problem. Well, that is something that I'm going to be tackling in the next episode. For now, I am doing quite well. I am making steady profits. I have a significant loan, 15 million, but despite that, it is not really generating that much loan interest. 195k and 225k here. And despite that, I'm still making a decent amount of money. This is just starting out after I bought a couple of new vehicles, so I'm really not worried about it. So, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed watching my empire grow a bit further. Next episode, I aim to go for growth towards Hartford, potentially Burbank, depending a bit on how much money I'm bringing in. And I think that I'm going to have to expand the capacity of this train line, because there are so many people waiting to go to Laredo, and vice versa. I mean, this train is utterly insignificant, so we're going to have to work on that next episode. But that'll be in a couple of days. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon for more Transport Fever.